Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Growth Circuit, which is powered by Petion AI Solutions. This podcast was created for founders and future entrepreneurs to talk about what has gone well for them, but also what they look for when they're hiring people, or if you're in the tech industry, what's going on with IT churn. I want to say for anyone that's looking to start their own company, younger entrepreneurs, or even young adults, if you're looking to get an edge, this podcast is here for you as we're tapping into some of the elite leaders in their companies as well as high-level executives. Once again, I want to say thank you and welcome to the Growth Circuit, again powered by Petion AI Solutions. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Growth Circuit podcast, where we explore the stories and strategies behind today's most forward-thinking founders and innovators. In this episode, we're diving into how managed service providers can use automation and prepare for the rise of AI to scale operations and work smarter. Joining me today is Hani Eshack, the founder of Critical IT Solutions. Hani has built a strong reputation for helping companies simplify complex IT challenges and deliver reliable managed services that keep businesses running smoothly. If you ever wondered what it really takes to scale an MSP and lead a team in such a rapidly changing space, this episode is packed with insights you won't want to miss. Also, before I start, I just want to give Hani a huge congratulations as his son just graduated from Cambridge. So that is a huge accomplishment. He is a father of three. He has twins as well, and he's running an IT business. Mr. Hani, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Thanks for it is their accomplishment. It is my son's accomplishment. They did it on their own, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome, Mr. Hani. So, as we talk about your IT company, what has led you to start Critical IT Solutions, and what gap did you see in the market that pushed you to jump in?
That's a great question. Actually, I've been in the technology world for most of my life. Back in the days when I got my first computer, it was a tiny little IBM thing that cost thousands of dollars, and it had 64K of RAM and 20 megabytes of space, and it was insane back then, and it was the top of the line. And over time, I've done a lot of work, and I've done other businesses. I've started a putt and fun and indoor putting for the kids and parties, and
Awesome.
I also later on I was the chief technology officer for a pharmaceutical company. For years I was there, and we had a team of it was about 25 to 30 IT people in a department. Then I realized that the technology moved so fast that smaller businesses and mid-sized companies cannot afford it. They cannot afford to hire 20 people or 5 people or even one nowadays. I mean, really, It's so hard to find talented people. But yet the need is also escalating, and the challenges are getting more and more. So when I left that job, I looked out to the marketplace and see, okay, I saw a lot of need for the small companies to be protected, to be supported, and to be able to afford it. So we started Critical IT Solutions in 2010, 16 years. And even since then, things have changed so much. I mean, you can tell everything is changing on both sides, on the opportunity and the risk.
Yeah.
So Critical IT Solution is based on that, fulfilling that. But it's not just this. It's also, we realize that training is important. You need, when you look at all the statistics that have taken place over the years, it's the end user usually is the culprit. They click on a link they should not do, or they download something that they put in a USB that they shouldn't. And all of that people need to be trained. So we put together as a system that becomes really an IT department. We don't even call our clients, we call them partners. Because we are their partners. We are their department. They can call us. So that was the idea, is that provide solutions for small business to fulfill a need. And this is what business is all about. You see a need and you go in and you fill it and you try to be the best at what you do.
Yeah, and I completely agree. As I see that technology is growing, I think I would like to say people are growing with technology, but I think it's the younger generation that's growing with the technology as The ones that didn't have the technology are making those mistakes, like what you mentioned, clicking on a link that they shouldn't click on, or even putting a USB inside something that they shouldn't put a USB in. And that's awesome that you mentioned that you don't look at your clients as clients, you look at them as partners. That is major, you know. So anyone that's looking or listening in onto this, one of the biggest thing is whenever you're starting a company or you have a company, just understand that whoever is your clients, they're not clients, they're partners, because at the end of the day, you guys are going to grow together. If you fail, they fail. And if they win, you win. So it's the same concept. And Mr. Hani, that's amazing that you even mentioned that. Which I can see why Critical IT Solutions is doing what they're doing. So really, really good kudos for that. So there's a lot of people who don't understand how to run an MSP. What are some of the biggest operational headaches that come with managing clients and systems at scale?
For an MSP, there are multiple or different kinds of MSPs, and it started out back in the days with break and fix, meaning that you have what's called a computer guy, or you call somebody when things happen, when something happened. For a real MSP, automation is a big deal. There's no question about it. We've learned a lot of mistakes. As you grow, you learn from your mistakes,
Yeah.
right? So at one point, for example, we had multiple systems not connected. So our technicians keep running from one system to another, creating more problems than solving them, right?
Yeah.
So we looked at it and we said, okay, what do we have to do? My idea of anything you do, no matter what it is, you have to have a framework. You have to have an insight into what it is that you want, and you have to document this.
Yeah.
You have to have a strategy. You can't just, oh, what's the next buzzword? I'm going to go and do that. You can't do that
Yeah.
with anything, especially in technology. So what we did is we started by documenting our processes, really documenting it. SOPs across the board. You have to have operating procedures in everything you do. It's like
Yep.
saying that McDonald's had 10 or 13 pages to how to make French fries. What do? I mean, you open up the bag and you throw it in the fryer and you have 15 pages. In our case, we have a very strict, detailed documentation so that if somebody leaves the company, somebody else can come in and
Take right
pick it
up.
up. That's the first thing. If you don't have documentation and procedures, then as an MSP, it's going to be difficult for you to scale.
Yeah.
Because scaling, meaning you have more clients, meaning you have more demand. And having procedures in place that will actually automate some of these procedures. And then you have to decide, what are we going to automate? Are we going to automate everything? No, you don't want to do that. You want to start small. Things that are repetitive, that people, they repeat one time, every single time. Like an example, we had multiple systems from different providers. They don't talk to each other. So that created a bottleneck.
Yeah.
So we decided, okay, let's evaluate everything that's out there and pick the best. And we did. And we integrate all of them. So you are looking at your screen and your ticketing screen and you see, okay, this client, I'm connected to them. You have all the information you need. I need their password. I need their backup. I need the tickets that happened before. It makes the job easier for the actual technician. The client will be happy at the end.
Yep.
So scaling is also relevant to where you are in your journey.
Yep.
Do you have 10 clients or you have 100 clients? Whole different story. At the beginning, people think, oh, I can do that. That's fine. But it is important to start. If you're starting an MSP, start it right from the beginning. Focus on documentation because it's going to help you scale faster and much more successful than not documenting everything. That's to me, that's the biggest lesson I learned from our experience at the beginning.
No, and I can trust me when I tell you I understand that. With me being a serial entrepreneur, everything has to start with documentation because you never know. Like you mentioned, you can have somebody, next thing you know, they leave. You need somebody that could come in and pick up exactly where this person left off at.
Absolutely.
And if you can't get that, and let's say you don't have the documentation, now you're starting back from square one, which is not going to help you scale. Is actually going to help you lose time. And when you think about scaling, scaling is time because you need to get your time back for you to do everything that you need to do.
Time is
But
money.
exactly, which leads to my next question. You kind of answered it already, but I would love for you to go deeper. Hypothetically speaking, if you had a magic wand right now to fix one thing in the business, that's either holding you back or slowing you down, what would that one thing be?
I think outside of the documentation and automation, for an MSP, the focus should be on how do you build your MSP on very solid foundation that is based on ethics, based on building a relationship. Because really, MSP is not like any other type of business because you really have to build that relationship. You cannot ignore smaller companies versus you have to really have based on your values. Our values are based on integrity. If we make a mistake, we'll own it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shy away from all my staff will own it. I make a mistake. I made a mistake. Everybody does. We will fix it.
Awesome.
That type of it comes across to the partner as you really are someone who I can deal with. That's something
Awesome.
that's real. That's not technology related. It's anything. We made a mistake. We will own it. And that, to me, I think it's a big piece of it, in addition to automation and all of that.
Yeah, no, and that's major because when you think of other companies, unfortunately, they won't own a mistake. They will
Yeah.
not own it. They'll point fingers at you.
Try to blame somebody else. Yeah.
Exactly. Versus taking it and saying, no, it was my fault. Let's fix it. I'm here for you. And that's one of the biggest things is that just going back to it, and I love what you're mentioning, is just the partnership. Yeah, it's once again, if they're not winning, you're not winning. If they're failing, you're failing. It's the same concept. So that is awesome. So currently right now in the IT space, I have done a
Just to
couple.
add to that, for
Yep.
example, we've had clients since my first client that that ever hired us is still with us today, 16 years later. That
That's
says
awesome.
something, right?
Yeah.
Because we have treated them in a way that they feel like, okay, why would I go with someone else? You know, we are on both sides of it. So this is why I focus on that. Of course, as an MSP, you're going to lose clients. People have retired, people got purchased by somebody else. But
Yeah.
the core of our clients have been, everyone that has signed up with us, almost everybody, we have 98% retention. That,
That's
that
awesome.
is, that's a big deal. Sorry,
Uh,
interrupt you.
no, no, no. That's a major deal, and that's something that you should be proud of because not a lot of companies can say they have 98% retention, which means that you guys are doing it right. And just based off of our short conversation so far, what I'm hearing is that you built the integrity, the trust, the transparency with your partnership, which a lot of people that are going to tune into this should take away from is at the end of the day, I'm a strong believer. Sometimes doing things fast is not the best thing because you're not giving them quality, right? You're just doing something for quantity, and what I mean by quantity is money. Yes, time is money, but also for anyone listening, you have to also think about what type of quality are you giving your clients if you're just chasing the money versus taking the time being there with them and being a partner. Anything that they need, I guarantee they'll call you first as if you built that relationship. For you to say that you have the same one of the same clients for 16 years, that is amazing. You especially when it comes to in the tech field, you don't hear that very often. Usually they probably the longest, and tell me if I'm wrong, the longest usually is about 2 to 5 years, depending on contract, and they probably leave depending on pricing or having an issue with not being able to communicate with a person. What
Yeah,
would you say?
and the partnership goes but beyond that too. I'll just give you one example. We had a client of ours, very good client. We had them for 2.5 years. From the beginning, we told them we are your partner, we could work with you and everything else. And they came back to us. They had a major financial burden on them. 60% of their staff have to be let go because of the
Wow.
industry that they're in. And they came to us and said, we want to cancel this contract. And it was a large contract. And I looked at them and I said, what's going on? Explain to me. And they told me this is what's going on. I said, no, no, you don't have to cancel. We will give you the same exact support. Okay. We're going to drop it to a level that you can afford.
That's
And they were
awesome.
like, "Oh my God, this is why we picked you because we are
Yeah.
partners. You're not gonna throw us out there just
Yeah.
pick somebody else." And they're still with us. They're still with us after 2 years. Now they're getting back to the same. They're growing. They're adding more.
Yeah.
And who's gonna go? Who are they gonna go with? Of course, they're gonna go with
Exactly.
us.
Yeah, no, that is awesome, man. And that's not just partnership. And I would say that's more also that's leadership coming from you, coming from your team, to even say, you know what, we're gonna do what we have to do to help you and take care of you guys. So that's pretty cool. I know you mentioned before in one of the questions, before I go on to the next question, you said one of the bottlenecks was that basically different providers going with one company, going to another company. Would you say that would be the biggest bottleneck?
It's one of the biggest ones. The biggest thing
Yeah.
for us is that, I mean, for somebody, if I were to start again from the beginning,
Hmm.
I would focus on a couple of things. Want to focus on documentation. You got to document, like I said, mentioned that multiple times, and you see how
Yep.
important it is. Because if you cannot automate something that is flawed, it's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have a strategy. You have to sit down and really put down on paper the strategy, implement it on paper, and
Yep.
then evaluate where you are, and then decide, okay, how are we going to go to achieve? This is our goal. We want to automate as much as we can. And you're not going to automate 100%. There's no question about it. But if your goal is 80% automation, you start with the lowest hanging fruit. Things like script and automate stuff, that would reduce the time that technicians are actually spending on, and
Yep.
just auto resolve basic stuff. And the biggest one of all is onboarding. If you want to scale, you want to be able to onboard people, as automate this as much as possible, right? And so you can actually and grow, because you can onboard 5 clients in a month versus 1 client a month, or every, so, and it is very standardized. If you put the
Yeah.
standards in place, steps, here's what we're going to do, first thing first, second, and then you get to the point where once you do it once, twice, and then it becomes your, basically you're just auto running on auto. And
Yeah.
also offboarding, because a lot of I've seen, we have a lot of client MSPs that we talk to all the time. They have a problem with offboarding. They offboard somebody, and then there's lingering machines out there they're paying licenses for, and the company is offboarded, but they haven't even checked that. So
Yeah.
both onboarding and offboarding processes, I think, are really the most important thing for scaling.
Yeah.
What you have to decide, what am I going to start with? What is it that will determine which automation I'm going to do? First thing you need to do is repetitive things. Anything that is repetitive, you're doing this over and over, we're going to try to automate that. The second thing you want to do is, if is there something that a human being can make a mistake, try to automate that, because you don't want somebody to click on some wrong thing, right? So
Yeah.
that's the third piece. And then the thing is, the third one is impact on your business. Well, how much of an impact this automation is going to do. So those are the hierarchies. Those,
Yeah.
once you go through that and you strategize it, then you have the documentation, you have operating procedures, then you're building a solid foundation for the business to grow.
Awesome. No, and I agree. Like documentation comes to everything, comes before everything, and then automation, like just making it as easy as possible, so that there's no flaws, right? There's no, or should I say, there's no loophole like around it. Which you kind of touched up on one of my things, but let's say currently right now, I've seen this in the IT field where there's been a lot of ups and downs when it comes to finding the right talent. For you per se, how do you find the right talent so that you can continue to grow your company?
Well, I was lucky enough to have been in this business, so I was in touch with. I hired a lot of people, and they know how to work with me. And working with me is, I treat them well, and I treat them with respect, and they are involved in decisions. So they feel like part of the company. That's an important part in any business. You want someone to feel welcome,
Yeah.
respected, and not ignored. You're not. So I was able to hire from the pool of contact that I had a number of very talented people.
Awesome.
And we always look for internships. We look for, because you never know what the next genius is there.
Yeah.
So we have relationship with schools that we provide internships. So we do a host of things. We also get, as a company, we get a lot of resumes from everybody, and some are
Yeah.
not as qualified. But yeah, that's it. It is. I have to admit, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to recruit talented people That's
Yeah.
one thing that in any business you really, unless you,
Yeah.
I don't know, coffee shop maybe, or but other than that, somebody with experience in technology, and you want someone you can depend on, because
Yep.
they will be the ones who are representing you in front of the client. So you want someone who's that kind of attitude.
Yeah, and no, I totally agree. I think we're in a day and age where it's really hard to find great talent, right? Because you can find good talent, but the issue with good talent is that it can fall into a good enough section where, you touched up on it where you said representation of your company, and you don't want someone that can have your a potential partnership with a potential client be damaged because they're not representing the company the right way. And that is major in any company. When any company is trying to start up, the biggest thing is to find good talent or great talent, right? But I would go a little step farther, is not to find talent just because they're great at one thing, but to find something within them where they can wear multiple hats instead of one hat, because that lets you know whether or not you have an employee or you have a leader. And those are the ones that you really want to grab, because they represent your company very well. Now, with technology evolving, do you see big opportunities for MSPs to become more efficient?
There are lots of ways for any
Yeah.
MSP to be more efficient. One of them I mentioned earlier is for utilizing the tools that are out there. You need to pick the tools that are good for you, because a lot of companies would just sign up with this and this, and sometimes we did this. We ran through this mistake. We had different kinds of antivirus providers, and we were from this and that. So we had
Yeah.
to unify all of that. We had the RMM, the remote monitoring management system, and that was not talking to our ticketing system. So we had to. So those are the kind of things that any MSP needs to look into. And from the beginning, you don't want to wait later down the
Yeah.
road. You want to have to make sure that it's structured properly from the beginning. And there are lots of tools out there. And costs also play a role in this. You need to look at your budget. How much are you going to budget? What is your... All of that plays into it. But again, I think if you look at it strategically, not just go for aimlessly trying to this and this and that. If you do it strategically, you sit down and you look at it and you structure it, and then you implement it. Structure, then the implementation, then you evaluate. I mean, you can always go back. If you make a mistake, fine. It is fine. But just be open to that. As a leader, some founder of business, it's all on you. It's all on that person to put a strategy together, implementation, evaluation, and then you have to lead the team and get their feedback, and then adjust it accordingly. Sometimes you get feedback from the team that is really valuable, and then you move
Yeah.
in that direction.
No, I love that you mentioned getting the feedback from the team, especially as a leader. The biggest thing is, for one, like you mentioned, put together a strategy, but also be disciplined enough to follow that strategy, and be
Yes.
able to switch the strategy when needed, if needed, but be open minded, right? One of the biggest things I see as leaders is that there are some leaders who are not open minded to what the team has to say, and next thing you know, they should have listened to
Oh,
the team, and they went downhill. So
the
that
team
is
is your company, is the team. It's
exactly.
structure of the team, and yes, you
Yeah.
have to make them. Yeah.
It- when we this is for our last question for you. When you're looking back at your journey so far, what's one lesson or mind shift that's helped you the most when it comes to growing your company sustainably?
It's a mindset. People fail or rise based on their mindset. If your mindset is that you're going to fail or you're not going to make it, that's what you're going to do. Behind subconsciously, you're going to drive yourself that way. If we
Yep.
had one point, we were struggling, and I was thinking about it and like, okay, this is why am I worried about this is not going to work? This is not going to work. And I changed my mindset completely. And I actually attended seminar, and it was fantastic because it really showed me that okay, it's all in your head. If you change it, you will literally without. I mean, it took a while, but we have to implement stuff. But my mindset is success. Nothing is. If I make a mistake, that's fine. We learn from it. A mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn from it. So we learn from mistakes. correct it, and move forward. And that changed everything. This is the if you start doubting yourself, you need to stop, take a break, and then rethink the whole thing. Why did I do that? Because there is a reason for somebody to start a company. There's no, and the reason is multiple reasons. Ours is a bunch of stuff. One of them is they're helping our customers because we know what their need is. We know what
Yeah.
these companies are looking for. Two is success. Us as a team, as a company, and helping everybody else. We're not. It's not just about the money, right? So
Yeah.
it's some people who just want to get a paycheck, then that's not probably your thing to start a business because business
Yeah.
comes with a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
So that's what I would think. Mindset is a key thing.
No, I think mindset is the most important thing to
Yeah,
because without the proper mindset, you honestly you'll be wasting your time. And anybody that's starting a business thinking that it's going to be a cakewalk is in for a rude awakening because there's a lot of things that go into running a business and running a business effectively to for you
yeah.
to grow. And I love that you mentioned that the mindset because there's going to be times where life really is going to hit you hard when you're running a business and you have to be willing to basically get right back up and go to it. And just like you said, if things are going wrong, fix it. Don't wait till later to fix it. Make sure that you see it. I'm a big so my wife and I we always do this before we jump into any decision or we make should I say start a new venture. We always write down the pros and cons, and we always see okay, do the pros outweigh the cons, and if they don't, we're not jumping in. And then we look at the cons. If they do, we look at are these cons that we can actually, I won't say stay away from, but manage, right? And that's the biggest thing because now if we see it and we can manage it, then know when it comes and happens, we know exactly how to fix it. So I guess the
That's
biggest thing
exactly
for,
right.
yeah,
That's
so the
exactly
biggest,
right. Yeah.
yeah, the biggest thing for any leader, I would say, or any entrepreneur, is for one, understand that there's going to be issues, but also have the correct mindset and adaptability to be able to adjust at a notice. No, go ahead.
Especially nowadays that we have this, the technology is evolving such a rapid pace. When you
Yes.
think back from the industrial age to the digital age, this is the most profound change that's ever happened in the history of human beings. I mean,
Yeah.
we literally, our lives have changed
Yep.
so much. I mean, it didn't take decades. It took a few years, and every other year there's something, and then people get swept away with these buzzwords AI, and they don't really understand what AI is and how it's going to impact their lives. And AI, for example, I was actually doing a presentation for the Chamber of Commerce and business owners, and they just, they love ChatGPT, they love this, but they don't understand that AI in of itself is a fantastic technology. It's going to change our lives. But the
Yeah.
problem is, as a society, we don't have the guardrails.
Yeah.
It's open for everybody in a way that people don't understand it. There's stories of people actually uploading their tax return for ChatGPT to analyze them.
Oh
It's
wow.
insane. They don't understand the
Yeah.
dangers or
Yeah.
medical records. So again, there's an opportunity. There's no question about it. But AI is available for everybody. So we're
Yeah.
also increasing the risks on the
Yep.
cybersecurity. So it is a balance, and this opens up new opportunities for new entrepreneurs that actually will come in and use that knowledge and scale it up. You never know. You
Yeah.
never know what's going to happen next. So
Yeah.
I'm very
And
excited. It's a very exciting time to be in this field, to be honest with you.
yeah, I look at it like honestly, I actually had another call with someone and we talked about it. I think right now is the perfect time. It's like the .com bubble when it started and now it's like a new happening with artificial intelligence. And you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people are not using AI correctly. They're just they're putting themselves at risk with a lot of things where there should be some guardrails, but it goes back to one of the things you mentioned in the beginning of the podcast where it's the education. All right, them having or training, them having the training and education on how to properly use these tools to their advantage versus using it and potentially putting themselves at risk for things. But no, it was a great
And also
conversation. And
policies, if I just want to add one more thing. If it
yeah.
is also as a business, you need to have the policies in place and you need to have the
Mhm.
tools. We encourage our partners to use secure AI models and then put policies in place. Because they're going to be using your employees will be using
Yeah.
ChatGPT and all these non-secure ones. So you want to just guide them to the right place. Let them use it. Take advantage of it because it's going to make life and the business better. But actually guide them through it and put policies in place.
Yeah.
That's kind of an important piece. Yeah.
I definitely agree. It was an amazing conversation with Mr. Hani Eshack, who is the founder, once again, of Critical IT Solutions. What stood out to me is that the growth in the MSP space isn't just about keeping up with technology, it's about leadership, adaptability, and building the right systems to support your people and your clients. But if I can say it in Mr. Hani's words, your partners, which is amazing. If you enjoy this episode, make sure to follow and share the Growth Circuit podcast. We bring you real conversation with leaders who are transforming industries through innovation and forward thinking strategy. And if you're a founder looking to integrate automation or smarter systems into your business, reach out to my team at Petion AI Solutions. We help companies scale smarter and perform better with intelligent tools that save time and drive results. Thank you for listening. And as always, keep growing, keep innovating, and keep leading the way.